Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, maybe not so much the boys and girls, but we have a gem of a person here that someday I'm sure we will find them on a list for, I don't know, maybe eating somebody alive or some weird thing like that where they chop up body parts or have a guy in a hole telling them it puts the lotion on its skin or something to that effect. Well, let's listen and see what he has to say, and I'd like to thank Bearing for bringing this to our attention, and go check his channel out. I'll try to remember to leave a link there, but let's go see what this guy here has to say, shall we?
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining Andrew Marlowe TV. So I do apologize for not up.
Andrew Marlowe TV. It's not technically television, so you're really not TV. But that's beside the point.
Uploading the past 2 days, that's actually pretty rare for me. Just been super busy at work, super busy answering comments and what have you. So let's get straight into the topic of this video. We got an awesome question from
Now, I just want to say I may cut out some of his blab just to shorten this video up in editing. So I'll leave a link to this, of course, in the description so you can actually go watch the full thing.
YouTuber named Short and Curvy Vegan. Thank you so much for this question, and the question goes as follows. What about a video on your thoughts about the way society makes women feel about their menstrual cycles? It's either gross, unclean, or some sort of medical condition that shouldn't be talked about, and how many are ashamed of it instead of it just being a natural process of our bodies that almost all women go through. You came to the right place because I'm super...
Well, before he gets into this, let me just say, although it is a natural process of the body, but much like taking a shit, it's kind of gross. But yes, it is totally natural.
Passionate about a woman on her menstrual cycle. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be an expert.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're what? You're what?
I'm super passionate about a woman on her menstrual cycle.
Okay, you guys heard that too, right?
I'm super passionate about a woman on her menstrual cycle.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm not going to sit here and claim to be an expert about the menstrual cycle. I don't know exactly what's going on inside of a woman's body when she's having her menstrual cycle. I just know from my past relationships and just from my fascination and my passion for women in general, this topic just really excites me.
Well, most people are passionate for women in general, but they don't get super excited about their menstrual cycle. That's kind of strange.
Because I think it's interesting, and I think going back to Short and Curvy Vegan's question, the way that society has sort of perpetuated the menstrual cycle, it's almost...
Dude, that was 3 jump cuts in half a second.
Like women have been burdened with this idea that it's somehow gross, or that it's somehow unnatural, or it's somehow not right that they have their menstrual cycles.
Gross, yes. Why? Because it's unsanitary, or it can be unsanitary.
That's completely the opposite. Woman's menstrual cycle is amazingly, perfectly natural, and it's amazingly wonderful.
Well, it's natural. I don't know about amazingly natural. And being perfect, I think most women would far disagree with the thought of a menstrual cycle being perfect.
Wonderful, and I would encourage any of the men that are out there watching this video to be open-minded to connect with the woman that you love on her menstrual cycle, because it's going to put your relationship to a whole new level of trust and...
No, not really. No.
Bonding and just overall passion and overall respect. If we look at the way that society and the way that...
No, but it does in detail taking showers and lots of towels and changing of sheets and such.
You know, a lot of men sort of view a woman's menstrual cycle. It's really unfortunate because I think women, they need that love and respect and, you know, support system during their menstrual cycles. I mean, for lack of a better word,
Yes, because a lot of times there is a chemical imbalance in their body that makes some women unstable. Hence the term, oh, she's on her rag because she's being an asshole or grumpy or overly aggressive. Gee, let's unbalance your hormones and see how the fuck you feel.
Woman is sort of losing her ability to reproduce, and that's, I mean, for lack of a better word, the woman is sort of losing her ability to reproduce. Love and respect and, you know, support system during their menstrual cycles. I mean, for lack of a better word, the woman is sort of losing her ability to reproduce, and that's
oh my god, you're a psychotic motherfucker. She is not losing her ability to reproduce, you fucking moron. The body is in the process or the cycle of replacing tissue that is meant to contain the egg and encapsulate the egg to hold it in spot until fertilization can happen and gestation can happen.
grieving process.
There is no grieving. Women do not grieve because, well, there might be a few that are fucked up in the head as you are that have a grieving issue with their period.
And I've often said this to a lot of different women in my life, that if I could, I would take their periods for them. And it's,
Yeah, okay, sure you would. So what are you going to bleed? Well, it's not bleeding, but what are you going to excrete fluid out of? Your anus? Your belly button? Or do we get to stab a hole in your nutsack and let you bleed out of there?
because I want to feel what that's like, you know, being
You want to feel what it's like? Well, start out by running a few miles until you have cramps that put you on the ground in debilitating pain for an hour or two. And do that repeatedly. As soon as the cramps are done, get up and run a few miles again till you get cramps. We can start there.
having a female inside of me. It kind
You can walk into, go between a furnace, you know, a room that's, say, 200 degrees and a room that's minus 20 degrees back and forth. So you can experience hot and cold flashes. And you can do that while running.
of sucks that I can't exactly feel what a woman feels like, to have the menstrual cycles, to have all the, you know, the mood changes and the, you know, the physical altercations, the pain, you know, the cramps and the bleeding and the vomiting. So if I could, I know it sounds crazy, I would put myself in that woman's shoes so I could feel what that feels like to actually be a woman. Because in essence, having a menstrual cycle, the main features of being a female, obviously, every woman gets her period. So I'm not exactly sure why this ideology has sort of popped up in recent years that women should be sort of shunned and women are...
No, nobody says they should be shunned. This guy's a complete moron.
not good enough while they're on their periods. In my opinion, it's the exact...
No. I know where you're going or where your thought train is, and a lot of people do not want to have sex while a woman is on her period because, number one, there are chances of getting diseases. You're at greater risk to spread STDs or to catch an STD. And all the freaking crap. Not a virus. What's the other thing? Starts with a B. I'll remember it later. But basically all the little bugs and critters you can catch. All the bacteria. There we go. Brain fart. But you can easily get a bacterial infection.
opposite. There's nothing unnatural about a woman's period. And I think, you know, society, you know...
No, there's nothing unnatural about it because it is part of nature for all females to go through this cycle. Just humans do it on a monthly, and other animals might do it twice a year or once a year or once every few years. It's all on a preset cycle. I mean, there's some other smaller mammals that go on a monthly cycle too.
tries to do their best with advertising and, you know, female hygiene products and, you know, chocolate and like... You know.
Yes, because several women crave sweets during that time. I don't know why they do. They just do. I'm guessing it's something to do with the chemistry going on in their body.
All this, kind of superficial stuff to try to help women cope a little.
Yes, you mean like Midol, or having a quote-unquote feminine hygiene products, which there's a very good reason it is called the rag. That's because females used to use rags, much like the old-time diapers, to so that way they weren't bleeding down their fucking leg. Well, I'm calling it blood. They weren't excreting menstruation fluid down their leg.
A little bit better emotionally and physically during their periods, but they're not really particularly making women feel better about themselves on their period.
Because there's no need to make a woman feel better about herself on her period. What are we supposed? Oh, you poor baby, you're having a natural cycle. Here you go. Here's you some candy. There's nothing wrong with making your woman feel better anytime, not just on her period, or giving her that little, here's some chocolates for you because I know you're craving them right now. There's nothing wrong with that, but we shouldn't be putting somebody on a pedestal because they're having a natural body function. Oh my goodness, you took a poop today. Congratulations. Here's a trophy.
Obviously every woman's got a different type of mindset, and a different type of reaction when they're on their menstrual cycle. I mean,
yes, I've seen women that have actual physical debilitating cramps, and I've seen women that it doesn't affect them one bit at all. And I've seen people that went from to where they may only secrete menstrual fluid for 3 days to where after having a kid or two, their menstruation cycle will put them in severe cramps. They'll bleed for a week or two. Well, not bleed, but they'll secrete menstrual fluid for a week or two. So it really, really varies with kids, with age, and other such, until something happens and they get their uterus cut out. And then they have weird hot cold flashes because their body's missing a chemical once again. Most of these symptoms are due to a chemical imbalance. That's why some of these long-term, like the depot shot, that takes the period away because it stops the chemical processes that screw with the hormones in your body and starts the cycle, which messes up the hormones, which gives you the hot, cold flashes, the cramps, blah, blah, blah. They even out the chemical in your body.
I remember my mother would say that she loved her period because she just felt all these different emotions. She felt almost stronger to a point, even though
now we know what's wrong with you, that your mother was a crazy, and you are too.
She was physically weak. Her spiritual level and her mental level was sort of elevated during the menstrual cycle. And I think it's important for women to sort of maybe look at it like that. I remember reading a lot about different religions and how women were treated during their menstrual cycles. And a lot of ancient Native American cultures would almost the women would be sent off to sort of be on their own during their menstrual cycles to sort of spiritually grieve, so they couldn't, sort of like infect, their local families or communities or other women that were not on their menstrual cycles with their sort of corrupted menstrual cycle energy. And from my point of view, I don't think that's right. I think that's cruel. I think it's, I'm not trying to ditch, Native American cultures. I have an enormous respect for ancient Native American cultures, and obviously not every ancient Native American culture did this, but I think that it just goes to show you that ideology that women are somehow creepy or dirty or need to be sent off somewhere. They need to be, menstrual cycle energy. And from my point of view, I don't think that's right. I think that's to sort of, be on their own during their menstrual cycles to sort of spiritually grieve, so they couldn't, sort of like infect, their local families or communities or other women that were not on their menstrual cycles with their sort of corrupted menstrual cycle energy. And from my point of view, I don't think that's right. I think that's cruel.
Oh, that was a hell of a jump cut. But let me... Okay, so you're a moron, dude. good article I read, and of course I'm cutting out a lot of crap here, that basically the women weren't booted out. It was the belief that they were supernatural at the time, but they could take the bad spiritual energy of other people and it would come into them and it would ruin them during this time, because it meant that they were spiritually susceptible to outside energy. And the fact that the menstrual ceremony versus the other ceremonies clashed, they were, it's like the opposites of each other, so they couldn't mix, and that would ruin the other ceremonies. So it was more of a spiritual thing than, they didn't just boot the women out. Oh, get out of here, you're unclean, you're unnatural, dude, you are a effing moron.
Well, I think it's, I'm not trying to ditch, Native American cultures. I have an enormous respect for ancient Native American cultures, and obviously not every ancient Native American culture did this, but I think that it just goes to show you that ideology that women are somehow, creepy or dirty or need to be sent.
Nobody has ever said, well, nobody with any sustained has said that women are creepy during their period. They need to be sent away, blah, blah, blah.
Off somewhere. They need to be, dislocated from society or from their loved ones, from their family, from their partners during their period is just...
No, but not being up on all the ancient traditions, but knowing a lot of the ancient traditions as is, like the reason we used to wear hats was to prevent fucking lice from getting in our head. The reason that pork is seen as unclean was because it used to, if you didn't cook it thoroughly, because of the condition pigs were kept in, they would have worms in them, much as freshwater fish do, that could get into you and cause you great pain and even kill you. I'm sure that stuff like that surrounding the menstrual cycle, where you're freaking secreting fluid down your leg onto the ground that contains harmful bacteria. You ever heard of toxic shock syndrome from women who use plugs instead of pads?
It's just not true anymore. You can really stop to think about it. An important thought that just popped in my head is just the fact that we are a product of a woman's menstrual cycle. I mean, a woman,
No, we are not the product of a woman's menstrual cycle. If anything, we are the product of a failed menstrual cycle. Although we are the whole reason why women have menstrual cycles is for them to get birth, because somewhere along the freaking lines in the human development, we found it was easier for our species, our species group, mammals, to keep our eggs inside of us so we could move them wherever we went to with relative ease, most likely because we lived in trees and out on plains and had to constantly move. So we found a live birth was a lot easier than trying to keep a freaking egg warm for 9 months. Not to mention, that'd be a hell of an egg you're pushing out.
Obviously, if she's pregnant, she gives birth to you. But when she's not pregnant, obviously when a woman doesn't become fertile, when she's not producing babies, she's going to have this type of menstrual cycle.
Yes, because otherwise you would have some highly bacteria-aided crap inside you that would cause you great further problems.
Unless she's got some type of physical condition, or maybe she's on birth control or something. That's another interesting topic. Is a lot of women nowadays, they want to get on the birth control, they don't want to have periods, and that's just, I think that's so...
No, see, there's most people think birth control, they're thinking of the pills, which still allow women to have their period. There are forms of long-term birth control that do, like I said, regulate the chemistry in your body over, usually it's every 3 months pill or a shot you get in your arm, that the depot shot that allows you not to have your period. And most women that get on this get on it not because they don't want to have a period, but because when they go through their period, the end of their menstrual cycle, it causes them a great deal of pain.
You know, a lot of women have reasons for not wanting their periods, obviously, because they have really heavy periods that physically and emotionally drain them. And, you know, they bleed so much. Maybe they got medical complications where it's better off that they either don't have a period or maybe have a little bit easier time with their periods. But I think it's just, it's almost like cutting off a little part of your femininity. It's almost like cutting off and throwing.
So you're telling me that a woman that has to get her uterus removed and her ovaries, her uterus / ovaries removed, is losing, she's no longer a woman? She's no longer feminine? Is that what you're saying? Because if it is, you're wrong.
Away a little bit of your what it means to be a woman. And I just remember being like a child, and you know, my mother would talk about being on her period, and then as I got older, you know, I had girlfriends that talked about being on their period, and it never once crossed my mind to shun these women or to think
Yes, because women like to tell you what the hell they're feeling.
any differently of these women. If anything, thought more of these women. I revere these women even more because they were.
Why are you worshiping them? You are like a mental midget.
Going through that sacred, you know, almost sacred ceremony.
What is it? Sacred jump cut or almost sacred ceremony?
Each time of the month. And I knew that they were going to need even
Jump cut.
more of that extra boost of emotional and spiritual love, basically. And I think from my past relationship, I just remember how wonderfully and beautifully and passionate our lovemaking was while my girlfriend was.
Okay. Number one, quit with the fucking jump cuts. Learn to hit it in one take or quit it. And not all women like to have sex while they're on their period. Most prefer not to, and for aforementioned reasons such as the easier spread of STDs and bacterial.
On her period. That's the true dedication of some.
No, that's not dedication. That's just you're a little bit of a freak and you like to get a little freaky.
Someone who loves you is that they can be dedicated to you and make love to you on your period. You know, we've got all this stuff in society like,
Oh, gee, honey, you smell like a fishing vessel that ain't been washed in 6 years. It's time to have some fun.
like red wings and just little stereotypical demeaning things. They're little jokes like that, but they sort of
Yes, because it is a joke. Wham.
demean the act of men attempting to be physically intimate with the women that they love during their periods. Not all that abnormal for a man to want to make love to a woman on her period, but I think
No, because there's freaks of all kinds. I mean, you got people that like to watch women step on animals while wearing stilettos, so it's no big deal that somebody wants to make love to a woman on her period. But that would be a intimate in your bedroom decision between you and your woman. And yeah, it does make you a little bit of a freak.
women have this ideology that it's unheard of, it's so uncommon, and I keep saying men, but obviously this could go for a lesbian couple as well. There's nothing wrong with connecting with a woman during her menstrual cycle. It's it's a beautiful, amazing thing, and as you guys can see, I can't really put it into words because it's just so beautiful, and it's
No, and you still have yet to provide any reasoning why it would be so much more beautiful or so much greater of a connection than any other time.
so intimate, and it's so sensual.
No, it's not sensual. It's no more sensual than any other time. It's no more intimate than any other time. It just involves a little extra fluid.
And it's obviously very sexual as far as the love making is concerned. You really get to feel the essence of the woman that you love. You know, you get, you know, when you're seeing her blood, when you're feeling her blood,
Calamar.
when you're smelling her blood, when you're tasting her blood, it's almost like you're ingesting a part of this woman's essence. She's not any less beautiful, she's not any less sexual or sensual when she's on her period. Maybe if she doesn't want physical contact on her period, then that's her choice. And
Well, no shit, it's her choice, and you should respect it, you weird-ass freak.
you know, obviously I would respect that, but I am totally down to be with a woman on her period because
I think you're down to be with pretty much any woman because you're a freak and they apparently run scared from you.
I want to feel what that's like with her. I can't really feel it for her because obviously I'm a man and I don't have a menstrual cycle.
Duh. Ooh, look, that's the perfect face for that too. Duh, dirty, dirty, dirty.
But it does allow a man to connect a little bit better and to gain a better understanding of what what a woman goes through during her period.
No, it doesn't allow you to connect and understand better. How does licking fluid, which, or having sex during a period, there's no other extra connection, there's just a little extra fluid, you're a freak.
Now, when a woman is on her period, for me, if I'm in a relationship, I will constantly cater to this woman's needs. I will constantly study her and scrutinize, not scrutinize in a bad way, but I'm always keeping a careful eye and just absorbing all this information that this woman is giving me about her menstrual cycle so that next time I can better respond to it. Next time I can be more aware of maybe when she's getting it, when her period's going to go. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, I just remember like going to the store and getting pads.
Okay, now we're going to get into the really creepy part after he gets done jump cutting. And by the way, there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to the store to buy your woman their pads or her plugs, whichever she prefers.
But I was so in love with this woman that I actually kept one of her blood-soiled period pads. Like I kept it for about 1.5 years after we dated.
Okay, I understand keeping a shirt or a article of clothing that retains their general scent. You know, that's pretty common. Like if somebody goes on deployment in the military, a lot of times they'll bring something that smells like their woman to have that reminder for a short time, or that's fairly normal. Or like maybe bringing a bottle of their woman's favorite perfume, something like that. That's fairly normal. But keeping a bacteria-filled menstrual fluid stuffed maxi pad is creepy times 10.
Hard for me to let go this particular woman so much more because we had connected in her menstrual cycle, and I think it's a little bit risky because for me personally, I get even more physically, emotionally, and spiritually attached, and it makes me worship these women even more if I can connect with them during that special time of their menstrual cycle. So there's really no reason in 2016.
Why do I get the feeling someday they're going to come into your apartment and they're going to find a bunch of used female underwear with little pieces of hair taped to it and period pads attached, and they're going to find that these all belong to various murdered women somewhere.
Almost going into 2017 that we should have any sort of taboo viewpoints or ideologies towards a woman's.
No, it's not fucking taboo, you moron. It is about fucking sanitation. Let me bring something up here on the screen real quick. In Wikipedia, it doesn't matter, but okay. Let's read through this real quick. Menstruation, also known as period or monthly, ant flow, however you decide to call her, is a regular discharge of blood and whatever tissue from the inner lining of the uterus through the vagina. Up to 80% of women have reports of some symptoms prior to menstruation, known as PMS. Common signs of the symptoms include acne, tender breast, bloating, feeling bad, irritable, mood swings, and I would like to add the craving of sweets. These may interfere with normal life, therefore qualifying as premenstrual syndromes in 20 to 30% of women, severe blah blah blah. Okay, so what do we got here is, see, this is a menstrual space. Is this extra blood-filled fluid? That's the reason why it's red, because it does have blood in it. But this membrane that builds up to catch the egg. The egg sits down, boop, nicely here, and then in comes the sperm, blah, blah, blah. Well, if the egg isn't here, the body's like, well, this isn't needed, it's got bacteria, let's get rid of it and dump it, which is why the body dumps it. it's not just blood. Blood is just one part of it. There is several, you got some mucus, you got some tissue in there, you got bacteria. I'm sure there's some, due to the rise and fall of hormones, that's why women can go a little loopy, is because their hormones get out of whack. The cycle results in a thick lining of the uterus and the growth of an egg. Well, the egg doesn't grow, which is required for pregnancy. No, the egg does not fucking grow. The egg gets released from the uterus or from the ovaries and goes into the uterus, which gets all big, soft, and fluffy for the egg to land on. The egg is released from our ovary around 14 days in the cycle. The thickening of the lining of the uterus provides nutrients to an embryo after implantation. If pregnancy does not occur, the lining is released, is what is known as menstruation. The number of problems with the menstruation may occur, a lack of periods known as blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to say that word. This is when a period has not occurred by age 15 or has not occurred in 90 days. Periods also stop during pregnancy. Well, duh, because there's no more need for the menstruation cycle. It has achieved its desired goal. Typically, you do not resume during the initial months of breastfeeding, of course, because your body doesn't have time to concentrate on the excessive amount of energy it takes to provide the menstrual cycle, because it's concentrated on making milk. Other problems occur: painful periods, abnormal periods, such as the difference between heavy bleeding, menstruating in other animals occurs, blah blah blah. Okay, and there are people who have a light menstrual cycle, and some that have heavy. It's, depending upon your body.
Menstrual cycle. If it wasn't for a woman's menstrual cycle, I wouldn't be sitting.
Yes, you would be sitting here, because there would be, I don't know, do birds have a menstrual cycle? Or is it completely different? Well, let's type this up real quick. I'll be right back.
In front of this camera,
Okay.
talking right now, recording.
Okay, yes you would, because they would have an egg, so there wouldn't be a need for a menstrual cycle. No menstruation occurs during placement of mammals, the uterus lining. Yeah, so I'm guessing birds do not actually have. Yeah, they have hormone cycles, but they don't have like a menstrual cycle. So yeah, you would still be here if it wasn't for the menstrual cycle, because the body would have a different way of dealing with it.
This video, and thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and until next time, really embrace your menstrual cycle.
And I would like to say to you, till next time, no, and please learn how to do stuff in one take, or at least to where you're not jump cutting every 3 seconds. Until next time, guys, this is Bad, and we will catch you on the flip side. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to check out Bearing. It's a pretty funny Australian brown bear. Bye-bye.